and no one is excused. I see everyone is present. And the adoption of the agenda, which is a singular agenda today, basically, around the bylaw 1998. Can I get a motion for the adoption of the agenda, please? Hubie moves. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. And that puts, oh, Todd, I forgot. I probably just took off.
You did, Todd, but it was all good. I managed to press the button and we are live online.
Okay, thank you. Todd, is there anyone that you're aware of online for questions, or I'll just check the chat here.
Currently, we only have one person viewing our live stream, and we have no other members on the meeting except for council and staff.
I just got a text from Kathy Jacobson. She's trying to get on, but I guess she's having trouble. So.
Do you know if Kathy is trying to get on the viewing portion or the meeting portion?
The meeting portion, I guess, or the viewing. I'm not sure. She just sent a text, and it's very brief.
Lane, do you know if we sent Kathy a link to the council?
No, anyone that wants to view the live stream would need to just come into it through the council or the county's website, the same access that has been provided for all other meetings. We did have a link that was sent out for the meeting that was held on the, when was it? The 7th. Well, the last regular council meeting that we had on the 10th. And that was one where individuals were able to join in directly, but that's not the case with regular council meetings. They just need to come in through the link that is available for live streaming through the website.
She just got a hold of me. She's on now, so everything's okay. So.
Perfect. And if I could just interject one more time, we have 11 people now online. So if anybody that is online, if you guys do have any questions, you can type them in there and we will ask them as we can. Thanks.
So I'll allow a couple of minutes then for that to occur in this part of the meeting, question period. Keeping in mind that today's, the questions would be in regards to this particular agenda only.
I have no questions being typed in here, Molly.
All right. Well, then I'll pass it over back to Lane for the summary of the request for decision.
Thank you, Madam Reeve, and good morning, Council. The focus of the meeting here this morning, of course, is Bylaw 1998-20. The bylaw did receive first reading back in November. We have gone through an advertising process. There has been a re-advertising again that appeared in the local papers, with the last one having been published on December 23rd. Fairly extensive details about information that the public needs to be fully aware of regarding their right to petition against the bylaw, if that's the direction that members of the public choose to follow. In an effort to, I guess, consider and respond to the feedback that has been provided during the consultation process, the bylaw that was originally given first reading with the Schedule A attached has been reviewed again, and a possible alternative schedule has been prepared that has been included in the agenda package for consideration by Council. If Council is interested in considering changes to the Schedule A that was attached when the bylaw received first reading, you're in a position to do that through a series of amendments that would be made to Schedule A before it was presented with the bylaw for second reading. In the report that I have prepared, there are some options for Council to consider. And really, it's a question of which direction Council is wanting to go at this point in time. The options really, they include that you could choose to just hold off on doing anything at this point in time. If Council does not grant second and third reading prior to November 5th, 2022, the bylaw or the first reading would be deemed to have been rescinded. Council could ask that we go through a more extensive community engagement process and invite further feedback. If the bylaw was to receive second and third reading at any time before the next election, it would take effect for this October 2025 election instead of the October 2021 election. Council could proceed with second reading of the bylaw as amended based on the alternative boundaries that have been suggested, or you could go ahead with approving bylaw 1998-20 with the Schedule A that was originally attached. So there are the options that Council could consider at this point in time. Really, we, I guess, want to just encourage Council to consider the feedback that has been provided and provide direction for administration as to how you want us to proceed going forward at this point. You are in a position, if Council chooses to do so, to grant second reading during this special meeting, which has been duly advertised. And a motion for second reading could be followed by a motion for third reading, and the bylaw could essentially be passed during this special meeting. With that being the case, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thanks, Lane. Questions for Lane? Tracy.
Just to clarify, if the choice was to select the alternate map that has just been brought up, we can only do second reading on that, or can we go through second and third reading?
You could go through second and third reading. The motion for second reading would be to give bylaws 1998-20 second reading as amended. And then a motion for third reading would just be to approve bylaw 1998-20 for third reading.
Wayne?
Lane, do we have to vote on the amendment?
Correct. The vote on the amendment would be required first before a vote on second reading of the bylaw.
Ellen?
Yes, so this new a map that was as of late, the latest version. Now, has that been distributed to all of our residents? Have they had a chance to look that over?
It has been made available through the agenda package that has been posted on the county's website. Council, any amendments to the schedule after it receives first reading doesn't have to be formally distributed to the entire public. It needs to be made available, which it has been. But council is in a position to go ahead and amend the schedule or amend the content of the bylaw between first reading and third reading, which could be done today.
Other questions? How do you wish to proceed? Brian, Kelly, Wayne?
I would like to make a motion to amend the bylaws so that it brings into focus the new map, the alternate map that was discussed, and as Lane said, circulated through our website. The 7-division map, that includes Scandia, O-City, and Rainier is one map. So if we're all clear on that. And if I've worded that incorrectly, please let me know.
Is everyone clear on that? Lane?
What I will do, if it's okay, I'll share my screen, and the map that you are referring to will show on the screen. So all of council can see that. And the public that's listening in and viewing the meeting should be able to see that as well.
Can't see it, Lane.
Not yet.
Okay, let me go back.
So is that version 9?
That is.
Okay.
Let me try one more time here. The screen share feature is not working, but the one that Councillor Amulung held up is the version that we're referring to.
Are there any questions about the version that's being referred to? There it goes. It's up there now, Lane.
Shared it from my computer, so you can let me know when to take it down. That would be okay.
Oh, thank you, Todd. I had some other hands up. Brian has made a motion, so perhaps there's further discussion on the motion. I'll just go through those. Kelly, you had your hand up, and Wayne.
Thank you, Madam Reeve. I was just going to also make the similar motion, but I will add that I like this new version. I feel that it's taken into consideration the concerns of that we did hear, and the distribution, although it's not exactly proportionate on this day. The high growth area is around the Brooks area in the proposed Division 4 area. And so I think that those numbers will populate on their own and over time. And so I'm really pleased with this new version 9. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Councillor Hammergren, you were next on the list.
I'm all right, Molly. Thanks.
That's quite debatable, Wayne, but I'll accept that. Do we need the map up to remain up any longer? Seeing as I can no longer see people, but I guess you could use your raise the hand feature if there's any other comments. Ellen?
Yes. Now, just for clarification, this could be a little bit confusing for our residents. Now, this is version 9. There was also a 9-division map, which was a revised version from the 8-division map that appeared a few weeks ago on the front page of the Brooks Bulletin. And that one was favored by many residents that participated in the public participation part of this bylaw process. Now, residents have asked me if this 9-division map will be considered by council, since it will be distributing the population fairly equal among all the divisions, which was the initial purpose of this boundary review in the first place. So it seems to be a little confusing, version 9 versus the 9-division map. So I guess my question is, will council, will it consider the 9-division map, which was put together by residents, our own residents, if you will?
Well, I believe the motion, the bylaw motion that we agreed to and passed was for 7 divisions, and that has not been changed. So version 9 is a proposed 7-division map. It has nothing to do with 9 divisions. Brian and Tracy?
So I am curious with the comment that was just made about the 9-division alternative and the fact that it was said many residents. So I looked back on the fact sheets of the survey that was participating and the letters that were written in, and the only number that I could come up with, and I can give you every line item because I actually wrote them down, is there was 3 on the survey that reference 9 divisions option, and 1 on a letter. So I find that I don't find that very substantial at all when 3 people are the ones that responded to that. If you want that information, I can certainly provide it, but it is on the map and it is on a line-to-line basis. So I certainly wouldn't want to make my decision based on 3 people out of 161 on the survey. Thank you, Madam Reid.
Tracy?
Yes, thank you. When I looked at our agenda for today, it does have proposed alternate maps, and it has an alternate 9-division, a 7-division, and a 5-division. But what I'm getting from the motion is that Councillor ADJOURN has made the motion that we are going for 7 divisions with the proposed map of version 9. So that's my clarification. Just wanted to see if I'm on the right track with that.
Yes. I would support that. Councillor ADJOURN, is that your intent?
That is my intent. Thank you.
Other questions? Hubie?
Well, I agree with Brian, and I had some concerned citizens about Division 2 being connected to the city. They didn't like that too much, so this proposed version 9 is acceptable to them, changing from Schedule A map, and I agree with them as well, so I agree with this map.
Ellen, is your hand up again or did it not come down?
It's up again, yes.
Okay, go ahead. And then Anne-Marie.
Yeah, I see it a little bit differently because perhaps people say exactly the 9 divisions, but it was referenced quite a few times that they liked the 8 division map that was on the front page, and they've not particularly said exactly the number of divisions, but they were all referring to that front map that was displayed by residents, I believe. So anyway, just my point of view. Thank you.
Anne-Marie?
Well, we're looking at redistributing the population because there were 250% out. So that was our main goal. And I think we listened to people. We kept smaller hamlets in Division, what used to be Division 4 together. So I like this map, and it's clearly proposed 7 division, and it's called for version 9, which has nothing to do with 9 or 8 or 10 divisions. The needs of people in every division are pretty well the same, whether they have 20 acres or 5,000 acres, whether they live a mile out of Brooks or 30 miles out of Brooks, rent or own. They want low taxes. They want us to be fiscally responsible. They want to have their roads graded, the snow removed, cut their grass and look after drainage. And it doesn't matter in which division you are or where the boundaries are. Those are the basic needs, and that's what we as councillors look after. And if there's a change of direction, if people don't want us to grade roads as often, well, every 4 years we have an election. So then make sure you pick a councillor that has a different view and take it from there. I mean, we have one councillor for about 1,000 people. Look at Calgary, where they have one councillor for 80,000 people. We're so lucky. And, you know, I just think that you should look at the election and try to find a councillor that's open-minded, not scared of change. You know, this is not as big an issue as some people make it out to be.
Lionel Juss, please, has his hand raised.
Well, I quite feel similar to Anne-Marie that we put far too much emphasis on our divisions. I mean, we've always, and there were a couple of comments in the survey that indicated that we ran the county based on our division, but we don't. We run the county as a whole. And it always has been that way ever since I've been on council. We've never made decisions based on one division over another. It's always been as a county, as a single entity. And the decisions were always made that way. We've done special projects in areas, well, for instance, out in Rolling Hills, and we all made a trip out there to look at that particular situation, which was really good. I mean, we don't make decisions based on the division we're in. And so I think the emphasis on that is a little bit misconstrued. I'm personally, I like this map. I like the idea that we've divided the population up. I like the straight lines on this map. I think I'm very much in favor of it, and I'm willing to move ahead with this.
All right. Seeing no other hands up, I will call the question. All in favor? Or actually, Tracy has raised her hand, and I would ask if Todd could maybe take the map down and return to the view so I can see what's going on with people. Thank you. Tracy and Wayne.
Madam Chair, I was just going back to Councillor Unruh's comments regarding with the 8 division that was on the front page of the bulletin. But that was not something that we were allowed to do, and that when we were going to change an electoral boundary, it could not come up with an 8 or an even number. Is that correct?
Yes.
Lane, I think, clarified that to us before, right? So that's just not even an option for us. Okay, thank you.
Wayne?
I think from the residents of Division 4 that have been in contact with me, their big concern about the maps was that the community was split in half. With this alternative 7 divisions, most of them are very pleased that they're staying together and that we will join with Rolling Hills. So I support this amendment to the bylaw. Saying that, I will probably vote against the bylaw because I still, and my residents believe we did not get enough consultation, but that is another vote. So that's where I am standing.
Thank you, Wayne. Ellen?
Okay, I'll take my hand down again. Yes, I would just like to hear the motion again, please.
Lane or Ariana, could someone?
So moved by Councillor de Jong that the Schedule A attachment for Bylaw 1998-20 be amended to include 7 divisions based on version 9.
Ellen?
I'd like a request to recorded vote, please.
All right, I'll call the question. Division 1.
In favor.
2.
In favor.
3.
In favor.
4.
In favor.
5.
In favor.
6.
In favor.
7.
Opposed?
8.
In favor.
9 is in favor. 10.
In favor.
So that motion is carried. So then we return to the second reading, correct, Lane?
That's right. A motion for second reading would be in order.
All right.
Be second reading as amended.
Tracy?
Yes, Madam Reid. Oh, yes, Madam Reid, I would like to make that motion for second reading for the bylaw as amended.
Further discussion? Ellen?
I would like again to request a recorded vote, please.
Is there any further discussion? All right. I always want to start at the end, but I think I should start at the beginning. Clarence, Div 1.
In favor.
Div 2.
In favor.
Div 3.
In favor.
Div 4.
Opposed.
Div 5.
In favor.
Div 6.
In favor.
Div 7.
Opposed?
Div 8.
In favor.
Div 9 is in favor. Div 10.
Favor.
Second reading is carried, leading us to third reading. Lionel?
I will move third reading, please.
Discussion? Ellen? Wayne?
I would again request a recorded vote, please.
Wayne?
I just want to express my opposition to this again because I think we were rushed and we did not consult with our ratepayers and even close to it adequately. But it's obvious by the vote and everything that I am going to be on the losing side of this. So, but I had to express myself again. So that's it.
Thank you, Wayne. Ellen?
Yes, I would like to echo Wayne Hammergren's concerns, which are totally what I think about as well. There just wasn't enough time for enough feedback so the residents could have a good look at it, have some in-person meetings, town halls, what have you. And I think this was rushed. The whole process was rushed, and that's why I am voting against it as well.
Thank you. Clarence?
Well, I've been pretty silent this morning, but first of all, I think this is long overdue. And sometimes, and certainly under the present conditions, we didn't function as normally as we could, but we cannot, just because we're in this situation, we can't let all things just stop. I think this is something that the vast majority of residents are going to think is a prudent move. We try to cut costs at the county level and all levels. When we look at 7,500 people and to say that we need 10 people to govern that, that's probably not a very logical number. I think 7 is already a large number for 7,500 people. When the county was first formed, it was all done by communities. Over time, our county has changed immensely. Our governance has not. We've seen a real change in our population distribution. We've seen a real change in how our county, as the residents in our counties operate. Communications are totally different than they were in 1952, 53. And I think it's time that we move. We can have all kinds of discussion, cost us all kinds of money, and end up with the same solution. And I think, for one, the solutions, as far as boundaries are concerned, really make sense. Population distribution is pretty darn close. and we will be more efficient, more lean. That's probably going to make exactly the same decisions as 10 members would do. So I think we have to look at that. I think you can't just sit on your hands forever. We know that it's always been a contentious issue when it comes to doing these types of things, and councillors being worried about losing their positions and that type of thing, and not representing their little communities. But the county isn't a little bunch of little communities today. We are a total entity. Everything has changed over the last 70-some years. And I think it's overdue that we change some of these things, how we are governed. So for that reason, that's why I've always been very positive about this. I'm not too worried about the fact that all of a sudden Rolling Hills doesn't have a voice on its own anymore, because I don't think people in Rolling Hills, Scandia, Rainier, really are that different. And for matter of fact, I don't think the people in Rosemary district are any different than the majority of people in every other district. We all have the same concerns. Anne-Marie went through the list of what we're mostly concerned with as a county. I think it's a good move, it's a progressive move, and I definitely will be voting in favor of it. Thank you.
Yes, I too support this, and it struck me just recently that it was a strange thought that the County of Newell needs to have 10 people do what 7 or even 5 do in other rural communities. I just thought that was an interesting thought. And, you know, at one time, each division had to have their own grader man, and that no longer happens. And it seems as though the council or the county has stayed together under those changes. And I really don't think that this is anything except a fiscally responsible decision. It needed to be 7 to make it fiscally worthwhile. And our first duty as a councillor is to consider the welfare and interests of the municipality as a whole. That's part of the Municipal Government Act. And I truly believe that's what we are working on doing. And it's up to the electors to vote in representatives that they choose. So there's responsibilities all around in this. So if there are no other comments, I will call the question. Oh, we do? Brian?
Thank you, Madam Reeve. I'd like to echo the comments that were made by Clarence and Anne-Marie and some of the other councillors in favor of this. I think what it's done for me is there's been, actually I've had a bunch of more calls since the last meeting, and most of them have been in favor. And all of them have been delightful. Like, all of them have been very respectful, questions asked, some not in favor, but after a discussion and with the same sort of justification that we've all had going into this, by balancing the population and to look at some of the costs involved, plus to the fact that we don't rule or we don't govern as individuals, we govern as a whole. And what it struck me too that was brought up, and I had considered it before but never mentioned it, and I don't know if it has been mentioned, but we have, I can think of 2 other elected bodies within our community that are wonderful bodies that are very similar, Grasslands and the EID Board of Directors. Those are 2 bodies that are made up of 7, of less than 10 people and 7, and yet they function very well. And I take my hat off to those organizations. And this is just showing that it can be done with 7 people representing the same amount of people. Grassland's actually a lot more in that regard. 6 at Grasslands, but they represent 25,000 people because it's both the city, county, and municipalities. So I think they do a remarkable job. I think the EID does a remarkable job, and I think we do a remarkable job and will do a remarkable job if this vote is carried and this is allowed to proceed. I have a great amount of confidence in the people that will follow in our footsteps and the ones that will stay on that sit at council today, and I hope they do. And you know, there's a lot of optimism in my mind as far as the way this organization is run. We have an excellent team of councillors, and we have an excellent team of administration and staff. And I'd like to take my hat off to all of you. Thank you.
Lionel.
I'd like to reiterate what my fellow councillors have been saying, Clarence and Brian and Anne Marie, and anyone else who was in favor of progress. And this is a change, yes, but if we don't change, we will fall behind. Like any other business, that's the nature of it. And so, in my opinion, this is very positive and a necessary move. And I think it's I think it'll be in the benefit of everybody in the county.
All right, seeing no other hands up, I'll call for the vote on third reading. Div 1.
In favor.
Div 2.
In favor.
Div 3.
In favor.
Div 4.
Opposed.
Div 5.
In favor.
Div 6.
In favor.
Div 7.
Opposed?
Division 8.
In favor.
Div 9 is in favor. Div 10.
Div 10 is in favor.
Thank you. Are there any other items on this agenda? Lane? No? Anyone else with post agenda? Wayne?
I just want to make a comment. This has been a lot of people have been upset over this, and I just hope that we can put it behind us. So let's move on and run the county properly and get things going forward. Okay.
Thank you, Wayne. All right. I will adjourn the meeting then at 10:45.